AEW is having a huge mainstream crossover for AEW Double or Nothing Fan Fest weekend. We're going to talk about it in today's video. Also, an AEW wrestler revealed that they almost quit pro wrestling. Very, very interesting stuff there. Also, just a quick note, we are talking about Cody Rhodes, WWE 2K22. We're going to kick things off with Randy Orton. A lot of people are just curious as to what's happening with him and Riddle and the storyline. I see this being asked in the chat, the comments, all this different stuff. As of right now, it appears that Randy Orton is temporarily taking time away from WWE. Nothing crazy, just getting some good recovery, and this is kind of WWE's opportunity to see what is happening with Riddle. So for those who are wondering, not much is actually happening here. Randy Orton, he plans to be with WWE for a very, very long time. This is not a situation in which Randy Orton is pulled from WWE or he walked out on WWE. This is just more of like a health thing. All good. No worries there. Really quick, I also want to talk about the Cody Rhodes WWE 2K22 thing. There's been a lot of talks about this over the last few days. I haven't been able to mention it to you guys, so I just want to briefly bring it up. Cody Rhodes is not getting added to WWE 2K22. For those who don't know, in the DLC, Nash Carter from MSK was supposed to be in the DLC. However, WWE 2K decided to not include him after he was fired from WWE recently. Now, with that being said, Sports Gamers Online, Mike Straw, had come out and said that WWE actually wanted to see if they can get Cody Rhodes in the game, but they were told it was too far short notice to be officially added. Now, with that being said, even though this was quickly shot down, I would say Cody Rhodes has a very, 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 very high chance of being part of WWE 2K22. In fact, this might even sound crazier. I think Cody Rhodes could very well be the cover star for WWE 2K23. So I think it's very likely we see him on next year's edition. I like multi-man covers for video games. It's something I mentioned in my AEW video game video. Just something to keep in mind. It could be a really, really good idea for WWE to maybe have Cody and Roman on the cover, maybe Drew McIntyre and Bianca Belair and Rousey. I mean, there's a lot of things they can do, but just to keep you guys updated, no, he's not going to be in the game for 2K22, but I do think it's very likely he is in the next one. All right, guys, now I really want to turn our attention and talk a little bit in depth about these big stories here. So Toni Storm doing great on AEW when she is on TV. And, Toni Storm was in a very interesting situation because a lot of people are comparing her story to the story of Sasha Banks and Naomi. And that's just a whole big conversation that you can talk about and try to compare it. But nonetheless, a lot of people are comparing these two situations. And, well, why was Toni Storm able to get out? Why was Sasha and Naomi not able to? And I don't have the answer for that. I don't know the answer. I don't think there's ever been anything published publicly to suggest why WWE does one versus the other. However, there's been a lot of talk about Toni Storm, and she actually revealed on the AEW Unrestricted podcast that she almost quit in late 2021 when she was in the middle of the feud with Charlotte Flair. And her final WWE match was actually against Charlotte Flair. So, honestly, what this really comes down to is her just being very real upfront about her mental state. And that's kind of why I want to talk about this, because this is not typically a topic that I talk about. But I think it's really important for people to realize, mental health is incredibly important, especially in the world of, content creation, pro wrestling, social media. I've seen a lot of people just say nasty things on social media or nasty things on the comment section or whatever it may be. And, when Toni Storm was going through her whole thing, photos being leaked and leaving social media and just all of these different things, it impacts people a lot, and I think Toni Storm is such an incredible talent, right? And I really, really want to see AEW make Toni Storm at the top of the list, a very high priority. I really do. I have said this time and time again. There's just a select amount of women that should be at the top of a women's division. Mia Yim, Ember Moon, Athena, right? I've said Tegan Knox. I believed in Taya Valkyrie. These were some of the free agents, obviously including Toni Storm. These were some of the free agents that I thought should have gone to AEW and just immediately been presented as a big deal. And obviously AEW hasn't made all these signings for whatever reason. Maybe it's a financial thing. I'm not sure. But Toni Storm was one of the few that did actually sign to AEW. She was given that opportunity. The fact that she almost quit pro wrestling it's insane because she is so good at it. You know what I mean? And I'm actually glad that she's in AEW. I do think at sometimes AEW can use her a little bit differently or a little bit better, but it's just the way she was signed during the time she was signed. I think after Double or Nothing, there's going to be a rejuvenated focus on this women's division, and I think Toni Storm, Serena Deeb, Thunder Rosa, there's quite a few names on this list that are going to be, I think they're going to be in the mix. I think Toni Storm is going to be the one that takes it to the next level. So yeah, mental health is incredibly important, but also at the same time too, just imagine that she just completely quit and never imagine she completely quits and she never returns to wrestling. It's just crazy. Like, she's that good. Like, it just goes to show you that, like, wrestling, man, there's just a lot of crazy shit with this, to be honest. I want to turn our attention to our final topic of today's video. And I'm actually excited about this. I am really excited about this because if there's one thing I talk about in wrestling is celebrity involvement. I enjoy it. And I get criticized, especially when I see Jackass on WrestleMania, especially when I see, Bad Bunny, when I see Logan Paul, I get criticized. But now we know at the Fan Fest, we're going to see Q and Sal from Impractical Jokers, which makes a lot of sense because they are large names from Impractical Jokers, which does pretty damn well on True TV. Obviously, they are doing some sort of comedy act thing with the Acclaimed. It's a live stage show. I have no idea what the hell is going to happen here. But what I do know is that the Acclaimed are being given a very, very good spot. And here's why. And I think a lot of people underestimate this. But there's people like The Miz or John Morrison, right? Dominic Mysterio, Rey Mysterio. When you're put with a celebrity in pro wrestling, that is because the company views you in a very positive light. In fact, I think there's even an argument, and maybe this is crazy, but we'll see what everybody says. I think there's an argument that if you're involved with a celebrity act on wrestling television or events like this, that means the promoter, the owners, whatever, the people are truly behind you. Sometimes, like, even more, like in WWE, Sami Zayn is not holding a belt right now, but the fact that he was in there with Johnny Knoxville says to me that WWE views him more important than the IC title because we don't see the IC title being defended, I feel like this is a very, very good spot for the Acclaimed. I think this is a really cool cross promotion with Impractical Jokers, and I feel like this is how AEW is going to try and win the casual audience. Crossovers like this. Whatever happens with Impractical Jokers, I would love to see it actually transition to television. It's not something that has to take up 10, 15 minutes, but just a little bit here and there, it's cool. I'm all for it. I support it. That's the way AEW is going to grow, in my opinion. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below.